Hello everybody, this is Steve Ackley, and I'm here to give you an update on my latest book that I'm working on, The Saint of El Camino Real. I gave an update about 10 months ago or so, at the time I told everybody I was going to kind of stop working on the book because of COVID. Not because I had COVID, but because the COVID situation sort of changed the setting of really the world we live in. And the story was set to take place in the fall of 2020 under normal circumstances, and as you know, circumstances aren't normal. So I stopped working on it and sort of stood back just to see how things were going to go. And then last fall I began working on it again and incorporating COVID into the story. Not that COVID is part of the story really, but it takes place in a world that's post-COVID. So I had to write about people wearing masks and social distancing and so on. And it's going well. I'm changed the date from the spring of this year to the summer of this year to give me a little extra time to finish. So I'm thinking July or August the book will be done. But what I wanted to talk to you today about is the idea of angels and angels having gathering places in the book, in all my books. In the first novel, Our Lady of West 74th Street, the angels gather around Bethesda Fountain in Central Park. It's one of their gathering places. And they like to gather at statues that are tributes to angels. It's sort of their markers in the world. They find the statues interesting, how humans imagine angels to be, and so those are their spots where they get together. In the book I'm working on now, I take this a step further, and there are several gathering places. And then there are also places where demons gather too, devils. So I'm going to read a short section of the beginning of the book, and then I want to talk a little bit about these places where the angels gather. The first one is by the Fontaine Saint-Michel in Paris, where there's this big statue of Saint Michael. And this scene takes place on the morning after the burning of Notre Dame. In front of the statue named after him, Michael, along with Gabriel and Raphael, stood and surveyed the smoldering cathedral across the river. "Sad," said Michael. "Yes, tragic," echoed Raphael. "True," Gabriel agreed, "but it's not the loss of spires and ceilings that pains me. Those are not what made Notre Dame holy." "What then?" asked Michael. "It's the space itself. All the prayers that were prayed within those walls, the songs of worship that were sung, the masses, marriages, baptisms, and laying to rest of the dead, these are what have sanctified the place." "Yes, I see," said Michael. "The humans will rebuild, of course," said Gabriel. "They'll bring in engineers, architects, historians, scientists, and swarms of laborers. They'll spend billions of euros to restore man's great achievement of the Middle Ages. They will go to great lengths to preserve these things. Yet at the same time, they'll continue to wage war with each other, let children die in refugee camps and on sinking rafts in the Mediterranean. They worship their electronics and algorithms and the monies growing in their stock exchanges, yet they don't see the genius of creation in their own being, their synapses and sinews, their hearts and minds. These are dispensable, but statues and stained glass," he said, and nodded across the Seine, "these are priceless." Okay, so now we move across the river to Notre Dame itself, where we find two devils standing next to a gargoyle, which is one of their meeting places. Along the gallery of the north tower of Notre Dame, next to the gargoyle called L'Estrige, stood two devils, Jormuntak, a lesser devil, and the one who calls himself Helman. With smoke wafting in front of them, they stared down into the inconsolable faces of the citizens of Paris as they looked up in horror at the edifice of their devastated shrine. It was from the flames of the fire that the two had emerged, brought back into the world of man for a mission of some kind. But as yet, they were not sure what that mission was. Helman looked at Jormuntak with his cold, lifeless eyes and said, "I'm glad to see they assigned me someone new. Your predecessor was clumsy. That's why I requested a replacement." "I won't disappoint you," said Jormuntak. Helman turned his gaze back to the plaza below. "Look at them," said Helman. "So much pride in their great accomplishment, now just a smoldering skeleton." Jormuntak was more interested in his newly acquired body. It had been centuries since he'd taken human form. He smiled as he rubbed his hands together. "Don't become too attached to it," said Helman. "The flames from whence you came await your return. Nevertheless, you will need a human name, human clothes, and so forth," added Helman. "You can't go around calling yourself Jormuntak." So, the two angels, or the two groups, are gathered near their statues. The first being the statue of Saint Michael, Saint Michel, and then the gargoyle across the river at Notre Dame. Some of the other meeting places I use in this new book are the Angel of the North in Gateshead, England, where they have a great meeting of angels, not too far into the story. It was built, it's a modern structure, it's a modern sculpture. It was built in 1998, and it's huge. It's tall as a 5-story building with a wingspan wider than a Boeing 767. And there you can see a picture of it. Another structure that I use, or a statue, that I use, is the Fountain of the Fallen Angel in Madrid. The Angel Caído, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And it's located in a park. It's 666 meters above sea level. Ooh. And it's set atop a marble pillar in the midst of a fountain decorated with sinister demonic entities and miscast reptiles. And the inspiration is taken from John Milton's Paradise Lost, when Lucifer is cast out of heaven. Another important statue in the story is the Angel of Grief. This angel, this statue rather, is on the Stanford campus in California, where part of the story takes place. And it's a replica of an Italian statue that Mrs. Stanford, Jane Stanford, commissioned as a monument to her younger brother when he died. So it's actually his gravestone, so to speak. And then another one where the devils meet are the gates of hell, the Rodin's Great Gates of Hell, and they're also on the Stanford campus. This is a casting it's from the original mold, and there are 7 castings throughout the world, and one of them is on the Stanford campus. So those are some of the congregation spots that I write about in this latest book. And I thought it might be fun to look at those images and so you can see where they are. Something I play around with, this idea of angels and devils having places where they meet in the world. And I will give you a progress report later on how the book's going. Like I said, I hope to have it out this summer, July or August. And I hope you're managing okay in the pandemic. I think we're rounding the corner. I hope we're rounding the corner. And I will talk to you soon. Peace.